flowers today in the orchard. They've just appeared out of nowhere because of the beautiful sunshine. Here's some violet, which have the most incredibly beautiful scent. They are exquisite. Collecting some today for my candles and also to do a flower pressing. I take the piece of paper, the backing out of the frame. They're just cheap frames from any store, or maybe even old frames that you pick up at a book hunt. So just position that. At this stage it doesn't matter where you position it. You just need to choose which flowers you want to create your little frame. Here's one that I did over in the last season when wildflowers were in the garden. So it maintains that sort of colour once you've finished it. And so I just let that dry for about a week under several books and then put it in the frame. So that's really cute. If you do a whole series of them, they look nice on the wall. Here is the one I just did. I just did this one a second ago. So with the baking paper that I use, it will just help dry it out. And I usually just put the glass over there just to keep it flat and in place. So I think I want this one to be, I've picked a little, you can go out onto any road and there's wildflowers at this time, early spring, or into your garden. You'll be surprised at how many you'll find that just pop up. I think birds might seed them and they just randomly appear. So I just took some little leaf matter from some baby roses that we have growing in the garden, and they're just small enough to create a little bit of difference in your, it's a little bit extra. So the violets, which are exquisite, and if you could smell them, it almost makes you want to eat them. I wonder if you can eat them. Maybe you can. Well, Lily's just telling me that yes, you can.
If you can process them in the right way, I think you can.
Okay. Actually, you're right. I've seen them sugared on top of cupcakes.
I'm pretty sure you can also make a dye out of them if you boil them correctly.
Right. We should research that and find out.
Oh, some of my cottagecore girls.
Cottagecore? I really like cottagecore. This is kind of cottagecore, really.
Yeah, this is essentially cottagecore.
And actually a good way of having your garden inside your house. Normally to flatten them, to start the flattening process, I just actually squeeze them like that, which doesn't actually damage them, but and then position them wherever you might want them. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Good morning, honey. Good morning.
Hello.
Our little resident artist just woke up. Well, I'm thinking I might just do this middle one because I'm going to frame them as a set of 3 and put them on a wall, probably in one of the bedrooms, just to add some colour. So I think I might make this predominantly purple, although it's really nice to include a different colour, such as that maybe. Just play around with it and see what, what you're happy with. So sometimes if your stem is too long, just cut it off or pinch it off, because essentially all you want is the flower petals. So you can see don't want that too stalky, so just position it, and maybe as you would see it in nature. Yeah, it's basically just squash flowers, to be honest, but it's supposed to evoke memories. Which, are you getting more flowers for yours? Or?
Yes, I told you this earlier.
Yeah, I don't listen, you know that. You always
You
tell
never
me that.
listen.
Yeah, you always say that. Well, now I'm just proving it to you. Okay, so I can do this back the front now. And then I can put them on top like that. And I'll get impatient, and by tomorrow I'll have them in the frame. So I really will. You smell like cat food. So it's a beautiful time of the year where you can pick up anywhere, even on the side of the road, little wildflowers that have grown. And today I don't feel like painting, so I went for a walk in the garden after a long lunch with some beautiful French friends. And we came home and it was beautiful and sunny, so I just picked up these wildflowers that were growing in our orchard. I believe these are evening primrose, wild daisies that just come up. They're going to sleep now because it's starting to get late in the evening, but also growing everywhere through the orchard are these beautiful violets, and they are so pretty and the colour is so intense. I just had to make some wildflower pressings to put in frames. They just look really sweet. So I'll show you how I do it. I do have my little helper Nuggie again today. And she's a frequent visitor, so lots of cuddles. She's 12 years old and very spoiled. But she's such a beautiful little being. So I'm using some, sorry, that was Chanel, dried hydrangea that I dried earlier from our garden. I use these in our potpourri and sometimes perfume. They don't have a great perfume, but they have a beautiful colour, and actually all through winter when they're dried you can still use them as an arrangement in your home. So they just make a really nice decorative touch. And Chanel's just come to join us because that's not cool. But hello Chanel, excusez-moi s'il vous plaît. So our animals are very inquisitive and not usually allowed on a table, but she just had to see what was going on, especially as Nuggie was here. So we had some, every year we get daffodils and beautiful irises and hyacinth and tulip that come up, so Lily picked some of those. I'm not sure if I'll do a pressing with them, I'm not sure how to do that, but basically you just choose your flower and then, excuse me Nucky, gently squeeze it like that so it flattens the flower, and then you put it on your, well, what I do is actually take out the piece of paper, the backing from the photo frame, so that you've got the right size and you can position your piece, because once it's dried you can just give it a light spray of varnish. It takes, you know, a week or two for the actual piece to dry, but I put that straight behind the glass and it just does its own thing. It ends up looking really pretty, and then you can actually put a gold trim on the frame if you want. I usually do that because I'm a bit of a gold girl. Yeah, so I use some of the some of the petals from the dried hydrangea just to add some filler in the arrangement. So you can just play around with it and have it pretty like you would want it, just gently pressing it, and position your flowers like that. I've used some little baby rose petals. Nuggie's had enough, she's going to sleep. So then I'm quite happy with that for this piece. It's really hard to work with one hand, but she's a beautiful little thing. So that's a kind of a little bit bit messy. So I'm not real happy with that, so I pull that back up and flatten out. This way I find your flowers retain the colour as well. So a lot of flowers don't. As they dry, they lose colour, but when you put it straight behind glass, it seems to work really well. So just flatten it out and try to sit them on top of one another. It's just a nice little memory of your garden, or if you go for a walk in the countryside and you find some flowers. It's a great way to create a little memory and a nice little decor touch. So that one is, yeah, it's bright, it's colourful. I'm not sure if you can see that. So just so that it dries properly, I put them on a sheet of baking paper, and then you just press the baking paper over the piece and then weight it down with the glass. Once it's in position, you get a book or 2 books or something heavy and just leave it for a week or so. So I'm not loving the black colour just because it's a little bit stark with the nice soft colours. So I'm just going to add some gold to the frames. I've done this one, if you want to have a look. And I'm just using an old brush, pretty rough, but it's nice and soft, so it gets the gold on very sort of softly, I guess. So it's just a matter of lightly dipping into your paint. This is an acrylic gold, just any type will do. It does actually dry really well, so you can also put a coat of varnish over if you want to preserve it more. I'm a little bit impatient, so I don't normally do those things, but if you want it to last, certainly put some varnish over. Pretty easy, you just apply it softly and almost rub it off with your brush. It's a good idea to pick a soft brush so that you can keep sort of working it and softening it. This is actually a shading brush, but any soft brush will do. You can actually do this with your fingers as well, but it can be not as even or soft with your fingers. Just takes a little bit of the starkness away from the actual look of the piece. I nearly said artwork then. It is actually an artwork, a work of art, nature's art. Is always good to bring into the house. And it's also really fun. As I said, I'm a little bit impatient, so more attention to how you lay out your actual flowers can make it pretty. Whatever you're happy with. Art is subjective. Yeah, so I'll show you the finished product shortly. Just finishing off this one. Actually got nothing. The soft brush picks up quite a bit of paint, so you can just keep sort of rubbing it. Get your coverage. Hoping to get enough out of this. So there you can see the difference. Actually, actually stick that in the middle. Let's see. And then if you wanted something different, you could keep one black. I don't like although most of my photo frames are black. I just want it to be a bit softer because the flowers are so delicate. Pick up too much paint, just keep working it and it will spread out evenly. Best thing about soft brushes, you can work your paint. And with acrylics you've got a little bit of time. Just thought I would show you the finished product. I haven't managed to get them on the wall yet, but the little series of 3 wildflower pressings is really cute and really quite a fun project to do. Easy. I just pretty much make it up as I go because I'm no craft expert, but plenty of wildflowers at this time of year, so have fun.